I don't know how fans are feeling right now. It's kind of weird, right? So, high expectations coming in and 3 losses early, albeit to really good teams. But the last one coming at the rack at Rutgers, I think a lot of Illinois fans thought they were going to get that one, not understanding how good this Rutgers team is. How concerned are you about this Illini team right now?
Actually, not concerned at all, to be honest. For me, I looked at and I've told many people this. This team is going to be better later. I mean, if you look at this team right now in comparison to last year's team, we had Kipper Nichols coming off the bench. You had Andre coming off the bench. So you had two seasoned guys coming off the bench and playing for you. This year, what do we have? We have El Mago. We got Andre Cabello coming off the bench, a freshman. And then we also have Adam Miller, and we're leaning on two young players early. What's the great thing about young players, Jeff? Is they become old players. So as time goes on, this team is not going to do anything but get better. You mentioned the 3 losses. They're 3 losses to 3 extremely good teams. I think people in the Big Ten are used to Rutgers not being good. And if they have been in blindfolds for the past 2 years and they don't know who Steve Peichel is, then welcome to the Big Ten, because that team is really doggone good. And you got Ron Harper. Come on, man. That dude comes from championship pedigree. His game wasn't going to stay the way it was as a freshman. He's come back, he's lights out, and he's playing his butt off, and he's leading that Rutgers team. That's a doggone good team. So Illini fans, do not be upset about what's going on with your Fighting Illini right now.
I mean, listen, Ayo's Ayo. Like, he's actually been as good, if not better, than I thought he would be so far this season, to be honest. He's clearly been a first-team All-American. My worry kind of coming into the season a little bit was Kofi on the defensive end, right? How you play when they try to expose Kofi in ball screens. How do you deal with that? Are you able to take advantage enough on the other end of the court so he's not a liability defensively? How do you think Brad manages that?
Well, to be honest, I think, and I agree with you on that fear. And that's always the fear when you have someone of Kofi's size, that guys will try to get him, stretch him out, and pick and rolls. But to be honest, I think the young fella's done fairly well, except for if you look at the Baylor game, he struggled in that Baylor game, but everybody's going to struggle against Baylor. And, he picked up some early fouls. If you look at the Ohio game, he struggled in the Ohio game, but that doggone guard is just as good as any guard in the country. So, but other than those games, I thought he has done really well keeping guys in front of him, walling up when guys are coming, when they do turn the corner and get to the basket. So not worried about Kofi at all. And I think Brad has handled it well. If you watch him when he helps out on the screen, sometimes I think he needs to help up more and be a little bit closer to the screen. But when he does, he's out, he's hands out. He's been using his body, did a really good job a couple of times in that Rutgers game, just walling guys off and angling them towards out of bounds. So, yes, that was one of the concerns this season. I think he's done extremely well at it, and I think he'll get better at it. And you're spot on, man, when you talk about Ayo. Ayo is definitely one of, if not the best guard in the country right now.
Yeah.
And he's playing at such a high clip that it gets overshadowed at times when people watch him, because, here in the Illini country, we're kind of used to seeing it. So when he has a game as he did against Baylor, where he has 19 points, 7 assists, and like 6 rebounds or something, people are like, oh my God, he had a down game. And I'm like, you know what? That's love. Because if you can have a down game with those stats, then yeah, we'll take that.
Adam Miller came out of the gate so strong, right? Freshman. I think he almost raised the expectations too high. Like you said, out of the gates here, like he's going to be up and down. I think ultimately, to me, Adam Miller and Curbelo might determine how far this team actually goes, because you know what you're going to get, again, out of Ayo. But he needs more help. He needs guys that are going to be consistent. Right now, you can't ask for them to be consistent. They're 6-7 games into their college careers. It's going to take time. What do each of them have to do besides the consistency? What do each of those two freshmen have to do?
Well, let's start with Andre Curbelo. Andre Cabello, as I've given him, I've taken Javi Baez's nickname here in Chicago and I've put it on this little man. It's El Mago, the magician in Spanish. He's great with the basketball. His handles, his court vision, how he can get anywhere on the floor that he wants to is pretty much unmatched. And I mean, and people, he's going to be a terror in the Big Ten and when he gets to the tournament as he gets older. What he has to do, he has to really stop fouling. I mean, his problem he's been in foul trouble in almost every game. And that's because he's a freshman. He's playing at 100 miles per hour all the time. And he has to learn. And this is one of the things I would tell guys when I was coaching. If you're driving your car on the road, do you go 65 miles per hour all the time? No. You slow down, you got stoplights, you got stop signs. And that's what he has to learn. He has to learn how to play the rhythm of the game, when to speed up, when to slow down, and that's where his biggest crutch is right now. And for Adam Miller, Adam needs to relax. He's skilled enough to basically get any shot he wants on the court. He is a great shooter. So he really has to slow down and allow the game to come to him, which is one of those things. I think because of all of the press that he's gotten, everyone knows he was coming in and know how much to depend on him. He's taken that monkey and he's put it on his back. And now it's kind of growing into a gorilla. And anytime that happens, you just put more and more and more pressure on yourself. You have to do the opposite if you want to get back on track. Slow down, let the game come to you. And as I would always tell people when I was coaching, concentrate on defense and concentrate on rebounding. The offense will find you. Right. And that's one of the things that he has to do.